God bless you. We thank God for each and every one of you joining us on
Yes.
this day, this time, this season.
Yes.
It is Valentine's Day. It is a wonderful time, a time to be able to recognize the love of Jesus Christ, but with that, not mistaking the love for one another.
Yes.
I think sometimes we become so spiritualified that people, I don't care what day you celebrate. You don't want to celebrate Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, Valentine. That's your business.
Right.
But the love of Jesus Christ inside of you ought to be able to let you say and acknowledge the fact that you love your wife,
Your husband.
and be able to do that and have a spirit of love. So my wife and I are glad to be with you today, Simon Temple, to be able to, as the pastor and first lady, as leaders of this church, to be able to say that we're in love.
Yes.
And that I love my wife, and I know she loves me because she shows it. And it's not about necessarily going out and being grandiose
Yeah.
and being able to have to get 512 balloons and get on the top of the Sistell building downtown on Green Street and declare love. Love is every day.
It's every day. But if you want to do that, that's you. We're not knocking anybody that wants
That's
to do
right.
that. Go
That's
for
right.
it.
That's right. Just make sure you get a permit before you get arrested. All right. But like she said, whatever. That's your thing. If you want to rent a limo, you want to call the Finch Connection and get his limos and cars and Maseratis and Cadillac. I'm sure he'd be glad to be able to take you with the wonderful professional vehicles he got and take you around town and do. That's your thing. That's a wonderful. We've done that. We've done that. And in fact, we use him to be able to do it. We've done that. But in stages of life, you do different things and not do it just because you got to do it or because somebody else says you should do it. That love ought to be shown. And one thing we wanted to be able to convey is in 1 Corinthians 13. It tells us in verse 4, and I'm reading from the NIV version, love is patient, love is kind. Love does not envy. It is not boastful. It is not arrogant. It's not rude. It's not self-seeking. It's not irritable. It's not does not record the wrongs and keep records of wrongs. Love finds no joy in unrighteousness, but rejoices in truth. It bears all things, believeth all things, hopeth all things, endureth all things. That is the love chapter. Now it says in King James Version may say charity, but as you deal with it and break it down from the Greek, it's really love. So we thank God for having that love. And my wife has taught me so much over the last 20 years to being able to know how to love, and that love is not always a thing. Love is an action.
Yes.
And I appreciate that. I really appreciate that because I used to equate it as action. I mean, as thing, not action. And it helps to balance things. And you know what it does? It takes the pressure off of you. And when you deal with this, and love is kind, it's patient. Love is something that you work towards and you work with. You have it. That is already there. I knew I was in love with my wife, and I knew I can't, like we talk about in the wedding, like the ring, we don't know where it started or where it ends, but so shall love. But you know it. You feel that thing inside of you. See, some people it's heartburn, but you know when it ain't heartburn, when you really have that mutual love, that love and respect. And I wish I could say, oh, well, the Lord came in the middle of the night and it said harder. No. It was a process of being able to learn and date and court, and that's why I think it's so important. So I think that, what does you think love is kind means to you?
Well, first of all, like you said, love is an action word. You can say you love someone, but if you don't express the love towards them, then they're not going to feel that you love them. So I think that more often than not, we have to know that love is an action word. Also, we speak love differently. My husband was used to speaking love in things, and I had to tell him it wasn't that I didn't like the things. I liked the things. Everybody likes to get presents and gifts and stuff like that, but that wasn't the way in which actually I received love. Gifts didn't equate love to me. It equated, you felt like giving me something, you felt like buying me something, or you felt that you needed to give me what you purchased. But to me, love is more than that. You can give me a 50-cent candy bar that I favor a whole lot, and I'll be happy about that.
And I know what that is. I know which one that is. All right, go ahead.
Okay, and so he thought I was going to ask, but anyway, I can have that candy bar and be happy and be fine. But I know my husband. My husband doesn't do anything small. Everything he does is big and always big, and so I had to find a way early on in our marriage to let him know that I don't need a lot of big things. I just want you. Simple as that. That's it. You can do that if you like. If you want to go all out and do that, go for it. But that's not something that I feel like you have to do in order for me to feel that you love me. I don't need that. That's not what I need. Now, words of affirmation more so than anything else, yes. I told my husband and my children both that you guys can leave me a note, stop buying me cards, don't go to the store and buy me a card. I still buy them cards because they can care less about my words, but I like to read their personal words, whether it's my birthday or our anniversary or Mother's Day. Whenever it is that they are giving me a card, they know, like, my mom don't like store-bought cards. You got to get the crayons out still. And they're like, we are 17 and 18 years old, and you still want us to do that? Yes, because most of them that they made, well, all of them that they've made, I still have them. And sometimes on a day that I'm feeling down, I just go to that box and I open that box and I see the letters from my husband. I see the cards from my children. And even before big events in my life, my children will write me notes. My husband will write me notes. And those are the things that mean the most to me. So to me, they're showing that they love me, because that's the way I receive love. And they decided to give me love in the best way that I receive it, so I would know, and it would be heartfelt by me from them. So that's important. That's important.
And that also frees the person to take the pressure off, especially in this time of COVID. It's allowed us to see we care more about people, our spouses, our children, our family, more than we care about a bunch of stuff. And then some people have been put in a situation where they've been furloughed, laid off, right, not being able to work. And then if it's based on material, if you're not able to have material, does that mean you stop loving? No, it ain't what it means. Mm-hmm. And I think that's good. You know, it freed me. Now, she knows I like to buy the gifts. That doesn't give me, I believe this, what you have been purposed to do in your heart, you're going to do. Mm-hmm. But it also lets you be able to look at budget, lets you to be able to look at bigger things, future, mm-hmm, but also to be able to say, this is it. Now, you know, when my wife talked about letters, I'm like, really? Like, what do I want to write a letter for? Yeah, I don't write no letter. You know, it's crazy. And then when I found out the joy that it gave her, that did it for me, because she was always appreciative, but her face lightened up more, tears, or she pulling them out, those sticky notes that I left, or those things. When I went to school, thank God that's over, school, not the notes, but school. She used to put them in my books and put them in my bag and in my packing. So when I get ready to open it, I'd have a note. And then I learned to leave her notes. And she know I might not do as many as she does, but she cherished the ones that I did, which then that words of affirmation reciprocated back to me. Cause like, wow, you know, the fact that she appreciated it. And I want to say to all of you, no matter what somebody gives you, my wife always appreciated it. But then she released me to let me know that that was not how she judged the standard. So always show appreciation, whether it's a note, whether it's a Tonka toy, whether it's you know, if somebody gives you one Godiva chocolate covered strawberry, and I can't get 12. It's like that. My wife would never do that. She'd be like, well, thank you, and probably half it and get half of it to me. She's gonna get half of it to me. Now, that's the kind of spirit that we want to talk about with love. Love is patient. Love is kind. That does not free people from doing stuff. Everybody can do something. Everybody can do something. You've got to be able to do something to show that. If it's a bought card, whether it's a handmade card, whether it's a piece of jewelry, whether it's a mask or whatever it is, just you got to show another way. You know how I feel. You know how I feel all of your life. If I didn't feel that way, I wouldn't still be here. Oh, wow, that makes somebody feel real good. You've got to be able, it don't cost you sometimes to do it. And then sometimes something from Dollar General can mean just as much as Macy's. But don't sit up there and give it well, you better be satisfied I gave you something. That's love is patient, kind. It's the way you give it.
And then if you are married to someone or engaged to someone or in a relationship with someone that does that, if you love them, then you'll be patient with them. Because some people saw that growing up or saw that by the people that reared them, and they feel like that's the way to show love. Some people feel that way. But if you're patient with the person and really love them, then you will have an open mind to actually sit down and have that conversation with them to say, do you know how that makes me feel when you say that? And if they love you, they will receive it and change it. Because just because it was the way that you saw things being done or the way you were taught that things should be done doesn't necessarily means that they were correct, and doesn't necessarily mean that your mate will receive them in the manner in which they're given.
That's right. That's right.
So we have to be patient with one another because, first of all, we all have issues. And sometimes we see other people's issues and feel like, oh, their issues are bigger than mine. Well, I don't think there's a measure. A measuring cup or a yardstick that will say, whose issues are worse than others. We all have them, and so we have to all learn how to be patient with one another as we work through them. So that part of it, love is patient. Love is patient.
And it's all relative.
Yeah.
It's all relative to your situation. And when my wife said all of us got issues, everybody got it. Everybody. You got issues. She got issues. I got issues. Whoever's taping this got issues. Everybody got issues. Issues is for the whole body of Christ. Ain't no perfect relationship. Ain't no perfect marriage. Ain't no perfect friendship. So there's nothing, no perfect anything. Right. Only one that's perfect is the Father. That's it. So you got to work at it. It takes work. Right. And I often say that wedding is the best work you ever put in, because the rewarding, other than your salvation with Jesus Christ, it's rewarding to be able to see your spouse smile. And my wife, is she included, and we want to be inclusive for those who are married, those who are dating, those that are courting, those that are thinking about it. We want to say that to everybody. It's a growth process. Right. We dated for 3 years. And it was good courtship process, because I know for me, I needed to mature. And it wasn't we sat down and said, okay, on this date, on this 3 year, and on we didn't do none of that until I proposed and she said I do. And I thank God she said I do, because I was going to be scarred for life if she said no. So if when I said I do, yes. Thank God you said yes.
And every card he gives me, he puts that in the card. Thank you for saying yes. He always gives anniversary cards. So when I get that anniversary card, I know what it's going to say at the bottom. Mm-hmm. Thank you for saying yes. I've never received a card where he didn't say that.
Because I was worried about that. I had an acceptance problem. So I didn't think my wife, honestly now, I just did not know if my wife was going to say yes. People are, she's going to say. She said, yeah, I did. Otherwise, I'd have been, she just said, I'd have done it grand. We'd have been on 100,000 million. I'd have put it somewhere where we could have been we were on the way to Angus Barn for her birthday. Y'all don't know Angus Barn. Angus Barn is a nice restaurant in Raleigh. We ain't been in a long time.
I've never gone. I was supposed to be proposed to at this restaurant, and it is actually 23 years later, and I have yet to get to that restaurant.
Gift certificates accepted. All right, so we were supposed to go, but I proposed before.
Before we went, and we never got there.
Yeah,
we went to see our pastor.
Yeah.
I don't even think we ate that night, did
No, we were so excited.
We were so
couldn't
excited
eat. We probably ate Burger King. It didn't matter at that point,
Bojangles or something. I don't even remember.
So we didn't because it was just a momentous occasion. But then I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure. Maybe some guys or some ladies just sure. I wasn't sure what she was gonna say.
Listen, he sat in my apartment watching tennis because he was trying to stall, and I knew I thought you said we had dinner reservations.
What Venus and Serena were playing. I want to see him
Who cares
play.
that much about tennis? He doesn't. Now, if it was football, basketball, yeah, I probably would have kind of understood that, but it wasn't. It was tennis, and I saw the box in his pocket, so I knew he was stalling for a reason. So I said, okay, let me go ahead and play along.
So Venus and Serena, if you see this, if somebody sent this to y'all,
goodness.
that was y'all were playing. I don't know where you were playing.
It was September the 11th, 1999.
So y'all were playing. You remember where you were? I ain't never watched so many shots and y'all so many. I was sitting there, I was like sweating like I stole something.
It was crazy.
So,
I was like, what is he doing? Then when I walked out the room, after opening the present, my husband loved to buy me clothes. So, I had another new suit, and I had already told my friends, if this dude buy me another suit for church for my birthday, I'm done. I'm just done. He got to do better than this now. This is not going to work for me this time. And when he came in with that box, and it was wrapped so pretty, and I opened it up, and guess what it was? It was a suit for church. I immediately got up from that sofa, went to my room, put the suit down, put the box down, and I walked back out to the living room, and I said, okay, are we going to eat? Let's go. I'm ready to go eat. Because to me, it was about to be the Last Supper.
But notice what she did, and I want to put a kickstand.
Okay, go ahead.
And this is a great thing.
I knew he had one.
And I'm glad she didn't do that. I'm glad she never gave me an ultimatum.
No, I didn't.
And I want to tell y'all folks.
In my head, I did.
Yeah, in her head she did.
I did.
And she should have in her head.
In my head.
And I'm glad she did that because men, all people, but especially men, we have egos. Mm-hmm. And if she would have said either you do this or this, I wouldn't have done it. Because my ego wouldn't let me do it. It wouldn't have let me do it, which means I believe in divine destiny. I believe in the sovereignty of God. But understand something. When you ask and say, I do, that is your will. Now, it may be the will of God in his divine plan, but you can say yes or no. That's your will because, but I'm glad she didn't say that to me, but I knew it was time. And I'm glad she didn't, and that's just a lesson for people. Even though we had dated those 3 years, my wife never said to me, either you do it, you pee or get off the pot, da. Now, there may be a time where persons have been lingered too long and you talk about it in a conversation. That's fine. That's your business. But that ultimate, she never gave me that. She wanted me to do it on my own. Right. So she couldn't feel like, oh, I had to make him do it, or if she did that to me, I've been like, oh.
My ego wouldn't let me do that.
See that? You see what I'm saying? And it works both ways.
My ego wasn't gonna let me do that.
So it's all right to talk about it and say, I'd like to be married by so and so, or where are we doing? Where are we going? Da. But it was never ultimate, and we, the conversation. And so when I did that, Venus and Serena again, I was watching it wasn't about Venus and Serena. It really wasn't. It was about me saying, God, what if she say no? Maybe I better propose right here.
Yeah, he was too scared to go to the restaurant.
I didn't know if she was going to say no.
Are you serious right now?
Well,
anyway.
She said yes. But anyway,
actually, my engagement ring is over here.
Well, either way, praise the Lord, upgrade. So we were able to do that, and we came together. Mm-hmm. And yes, the rest is history. But through these years, we've had to learn what 1 Corinthians 13:4 and on says, right. Because it's a learning process. Right. It's a my wife knows church. I know church. We come from church homes and stuff, you know, you can't live in the church your whole life. You know, church may be inside of you, Jesus Christ is inside, but you got to live life. Life is real. Bills come, children come, dogs come, and I'm like, God.
Yes, Lord.
Yeah, and
He's
we got
another kid in the house.
Yeah, he's a 12-week-old child, So we digress back into that, but that's all a part of it. It's all COVID happens.
COVID happens.
I mean, I'm telling you, it's a part of that, and it more exemplifies the chapter 1 Corinthians 13, and I invite y'all to read it. We invite you to read it because you learn some principles, and we've taught many things over the years, and I think Gary Chapman's love languages is probably one of the best things. If you have not, I know a lot of people say, yeah, I heard of it. Yeah, but have you tried it? Try it.
Take the test. Find out. And also talk to your spouse. Not only your spouse, but your close friends. We don't have a big circle of friends. Our circle is very small. So in your circle, you should know how your friends best receive love. Because if they're your really good friends, if they're in your close circle, then you want to relate to them in the way that they want to be, loved in.
That's good.
So you should get to know them and find out who they are, find out what they like. If they are in your close circle, you already know. So don't try to love them the way you want to be loved. All of my friends don't like receiving cards and gifts and stuff like that all the time. They want me to call them on the phone and talk to them. It's different. Your relationships are all different. When I think about the way I love my husband, the way I love my daughter, the way I love my son, it's different from the way I love others. It really is. Would I go down kicking and screaming and die for them? Yeah, that's who they are for me. That's who they are. So it's different kinds of love when you think about it. It really is different kinds of love. But we all want to exemplify the love that God shown us, that agape love, and we want to love regardless of what if the person that you're with, you feel like they're envious? What if you feel like they're boastful? What if what if they're irritating you at some point? Well, guess what? They're going to do that. If you love them, they will. They will. They will. He irritates me when he doesn't pick up his socks.
I pick up my socks. She just don't see it. It's in the spirit. They pick them up. Yeah.
Now he'll pick them up now because Deuce will get a hold of them.
Yeah, right. You won't have no socks, but
Deuce will put a hole in them.
Yeah, but I think a great gift for somebody to have in your life is to be an irritant. And I said this, and it's different. I said on the ministers' meeting last time that I was going to be everybody's sandpaper, an irritant. To be able to make them grow. But the irritation that comes from myself to my wife and my wife to me is a different kind of irritant because I'm trying to help them develop as a person in ministry and how to be able to make full proof and smooth out the edges.
Yeah.
To them, to my wife and I, is different because we have to deal with total package. A part of who I am is because of her, and because a part of who she is because of me. And if you don't have the DNA of Jesus Christ first, but then your spouse on you, then something is wrong, because it's like the book that any minister, a new minister or pastor that's on here, as a side note, there's a book called And They Smell Like Sheep. It means that you smell like the persons that you're tending to. Well, the DNA of my wife from a marital point of view is going to be on me and me on her. She's going to pick up some of my quirks and tendencies. I'm going to pick up some of her quirks and tendencies. But what we do is try to help each other. That patient, kind, it's not it is not easily provoked. I'm not,
Back to patience. Back to having that patience.
Goes right back. Other folk, I tell folk when you're dating, these folk that are dating, you can get up and leave when you're dating. You can go back to your house since y'all ain't living in the same house. But anyway, that's a side note. So you can get up and go to your house and not see them for 4 days and not call them. Well, when you married, you right there, and the irritations are right there together. It causes you to be able to have to deal with some stuff. And that's hard. That's hard sometimes because you have to face it. But I think it's great because it helps you to be a better who you're supposed to be. And ain't nobody got it figured out. Like, you know, like my wife said, all us got issues. All God children got issues, all right?
It's work. Marriage is work. And if you're not willing to put in the work, then you don't need to say, I do. I teach a class on every Saturday, a wives only class, and we talked about us being the aroma of the house, and that's what we are. And so we got to check ourselves in certain areas, because if the aroma is stinking, then your house is not going to be pleasant. So we actually went through and researched different aromas to describe, you know, in one of our next classes, what the aroma was for your home, and how do you set that aroma, and how did you identify yourself with being that particular aroma to change the fragrance and the atmosphere of your home. So ladies, that's who you are. You're the atmosphere changer. You're the aroma. So sometimes we have to check ourselves and check what we say and check our attitudes and check how we approach our husbands, because we can stink up the place and we don't even realize it.
That's powerful. Men, are you Brute by Fabergé? Are you Dracar or Polo?
Oh, who wears Dracar and Polo still?
My point exactly. My point exactly. So you got to know what you are. You got to know what fragrance you put off. I remember a good friend of ours named Pearlie Austin. He's a good man of God in this area, sells real estate, retired sergeant major, goes to Lewis Chapel, good friend of ours. And when he used to come around, when we first moved to Fayetteville, he was selling us a house, and he used to wear Paul Sebastian. And I kept saying, baby, what's that? What's that he wearing? What's that? And you know, man ain't gonna ask no other man, what you wearing? But I finally asked him and found out what he was wearing. And he said this to me, you ain't ready for this yet, Rev. You a little young, you in your 30s. You need to wait till you get a little older, because these were old seasoned men who done been through the hard knocks. So we put on small Paul Sebastian, because this is the aroma that will remain over time.
Wow.
It will endure. I said, oh, that's a sermon right there. That's the way the love is, your aroma of what you're putting out. If what you put out needs to be able to have the aroma that savors over time. That yes, it's not puffed up, it's not easily provoked, it's savor. You got to have calmness. And I agree with my wife, and I'm gonna deal with the men on this, on men's chop it up and husbands chop it out. What aroma are you putting out? That I mean, that was great. When she asked me, the assignment was she had to ask me what I thought her aroma was, and what I said was.
He said it was cinnamon, because she's spicy.
Well,
oh my gosh. Actually, I like the aroma of pumpkin spice, and all the ladies know that come to that class on Saturday. They know First Lady love pumpkin spice during the fall season, during September, October. You know, I had so many people looking out buying the pumpkin spice plug-ins, the pumpkin spice spray, so that once the season was over, when Christmas came in, I still had pumpkin spice. That was in December. January came in, I still had pumpkin spice plug-ins. Guess what? It's February, and I still have pumpkin spice plug-ins in the house because I like the aroma of it.
And I just bought you some pumpkin spice coffee.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
Pumpkin spice, that's what I like, right? And so I went back and started to research so many different things that actually cinnamon is good for.
Well, cinnamon is a good medicinal
Here he goes.
to be able to deal with health and immunity.
Yeah.
So it keeps you healthy, all right? So I got my cinnamon with a little jalapeno and paprika, all right? So that's the way it works. So we just want to be able to talk with you today about love, all right? I love my wife. I love my life. And I think, and I received that from her. She said, I love you. Receive it. Receive it. We have a receptive problem. We receive all the bad stuff, and then when the good stuff is given, we don't want to receive it. So on this Valentine's Day, this Lord's time, whether you celebrate that day or not, take time to be able to say to your wife, I love you, and receive that love back. I thank you. And you got to learn how to be able to give that love and receive that love, because I think that's the impetus of where everything starts. So we've had to be able to learn that. And when we learn that, we often make love to be able to be something that it's not. And my wife has taught me that love is bigger. than a thing, or bigger than a time, or bigger than an instance. So I think you said for your friends, learn how to say that again. I think that was
your close circle of friends. Please learn how they receive love, because you can always give somebody love the way you will receive it, but they're not receiving it. Because that's not the language they speak in. So you're speaking foreign and you're upset because they're not understanding what you're saying, but they're not understanding because that's not how they relate to love. That's not how they receive love. That's your way of receiving love. So you can't automatically assume that somebody receives love the way you do. So you have to learn. Your close circle, learn how they receive love. Learn.
Well, she just helped me because it made me think of how me and her, my wife and I have taken the love test, and I know those words of affirmation. But then with that small circle of friends, these guys that I have in my life, how am I reciprocating, or how am I giving that? So this is not only for a Valentine's, it's for life.
For your relationships.
Amen.
Yeah.
That's good. You taught me something again, all right? And I appreciate it. I love you, love our children, love our life, and thank you for saying yes.
Thank you for asking. Finally. I had to wait after the tennis match, but it is what it is. Right?
They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their ring. Amen.
Oh, my goodness.
We thank God for each and every one of you.
Enjoy Valentine's Day. Let the people that you love around you know that you love them. Don't leave it up to chance. Don't say they ought to know. Don't say they by now they should know. Or I shouldn't have to say anything, or I shouldn't have to do anything different. If we haven't learned anything else during this time of pandemic and social distancing, is that we need to let people know that we love them, because people are leaving this earth every day. And sometimes it's not because of COVID, it's because of a pre-existing condition that they've had, and this season has made it worse. But whatever it is, whoever it is, take the time to let people know that you care, and take the time to let people know that you love and appreciate them.
Love, grace, and peace be unto you from our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And remember, look at God.